everyone. My name is Autumn Lebla. I'm the Senior Vice President of Strategy for Family Policy Alliance. And we're coming to you live this evening because it was just critically important that we do so with the vote that happened today. By now, you probably saw that the Senate voted to advance a bill that would codify the definition of marriage that the Supreme Court found in the Obergefell case, so codifying same-sex marriage. But it would do much more than that. It could potentially open the door for federal recognition of polygamy, target people of faith and entities of faith, and much more. So this is very concerning. We've been doing action alerts. If you've been following us, and hopefully you've taken action and contacted your senators by now. But we wanted to bring you an update on what this vote means and what happens next. And so to do that, I have a very special guest tonight. I'm grateful that he was to join us live from his home, knowing that this was critically important. He's a good friend. His name is Eric Teetsel. We've been friends for a long time. He's now the Vice President for Government Affairs at the Heritage Foundation. Family Policy Alliance has been allied with Eric, allied with the Heritage Foundation for many, many years. Heritage has been working very hard on this bill, lobbying on the Hill, trying to get senators to vote no, and under the importance of voting no on this bill. So, Rick, I'm going to kick it to you first. Tell us how you and the Heritage Foundation are reacting to the vote today. What does the vote mean? Take it away from there.
Thanks, Autumn. It is great to be here with you, Asian. Thanks for the Family Policy Alliance on this important issue too. No group can do this, rowing in the same direction, and everybody pitching in. And by the way, we took a step back today, but the war is not yet lost. So more to today was a vote. Technical. It was a vote on something called cloture on the motion procedural vote in the Senate. Typically, where members are going to be on the final. It was so disappointing that you saw Republicans join all 50 Democrats of this bad bill that would cause a mistaken definition of marriage, has disastrous implications for religious freedom.
That's right, Eric. And I know your audio cut in and out a little bit, so I'll just summarize what you were saying for the viewers who didn't quite catch it. Today's vote was a procedural vote, a vote where the senators decided whether they would even advance the bill for further consideration and a final vote on passage. That's the vote that happened today. And they did decide to move it forward, which, as Eric said very well, that is extremely disappointing, extremely discouraging, too, that 12 Republicans joined the Democrat senators in voting for it. It wasn't a surprise to Family Policy Alliance, probably not to the Heritage Foundation either, Eric, that the Democrats joined Senator Chuck Schumer in voting for this. This was sort of a vote they kind of had to take to appease their base. That's not a surprise. Definitely concerning that Republicans lined up in advancing this sort of woke agenda. I think also just really concerning, and I'd love to get your thoughts on this too, Eric, just super concerning that with all of the issues facing the nation, this is what they choose to advance forward. A bill that codifies a wrongly decided Supreme Court ruling and makes it statutory law in our federal code, and it even opens the door for polygamy and targets people of faith right before the holidays with, and you have seen this, Family Policy Alliance just put out just a straw poll and a survey for voters ahead of the election to see kind of where social conservative voters were at, what they were thinking, who they would pick for president if the election were held today. And they ended up saying that inflation is the number one issue that families are concerned about right now. And so with that being the backdrop, this is the bill that Chuck Schumer and his colleagues have decided to advance. What's your reaction to that, Eric?
You could be more right. The timing is, for many reasons, shouldn't go unnoticed by and done during what they call the lame duck. That means the election just happened in January. Several members of the Senate will know other members will be taking their place, and yet they should go ahead and take this radical, their voters, their constituents, the people to whom as elected officials have already. Why now? Well, because you're not accountable now, and it should be very concerning to people of any faith, to any citizen, public, and the idea of representation shouldn't have any law, much less a law one, done during a lame duck session, and there's no accountability to the people that you work for.
That's right. And yes, I see the comments coming in about audio, Eric, on your end. I'm so sorry about that. We'll try to work on it. But I'll summarize what you were saying, talking about the lame duck session, because there's no accountability, right? We're going to have a new Congress coming in on January 3rd, and this is what they're prioritizing. Well, they don't have any accountability to the voters because they're not going to another election anytime soon. So that's exactly right. Very concerning. I do want to get back to something that Eric mentioned, though, talking about the impact on people and organizations of faith. So a lot of folks are saying the Obergefell case happened. The Supreme Court decided that same-sex marriage is the law of the land. They sort of invented a constitutional right to that. We know that the court tends to do that from time to time, inventing rights to things that don't exist in our Constitution. I'm sure our founders are turning over in their graves. Things like a right to abortion. Of course, that's not a constitutional right. The court has finally come to recognize that. But now this same-sex marriage ruling in Obergefell in 2015, people think, oh, that's settled law. This is just the Senate and the House recognizing that and putting that into place in our statutes. That's not true. What this bill does is go even further than that, and it targets people of faith. And so I would love to get your take on that, Eric, if we can get you back up. But tell us some of the ways that the people of faith are targeted. I know listeners are very concerned about that. One way that I'll kick off to you right off the bat is faith-based adoption and foster agencies could be targeted for this and perhaps even forced to shut down. We've seen some of that in the States. We have kids well backed up in the foster care system already waiting to be placed in a forever home. This would make it even worse. So, Eric, if you can elaborate on that and just talk about the impact for people of faith, I think that would be helpful to our viewers.
Absolutely. And I apologize, this is a little bit better. I think it's important to ask, why is there a national emergency that we're not the rights of same-sex couples in America? Are there news stories happening that suggest that something is a problem here? So the question is, again, there's only one good answer, and is to push people of faith who don't share their understanding of marriage out from pariahs to make them second-class citizens. That's the nature of this legislation. That's its entire purpose. Because Mike Lee has introduced an amendment, Republicans have said they would actually go ahead and, if it included the robust religious freedoms in the form of the Mike Lee amendment, Lee can't get 60 votes because, again, that's the point of push people who have a proper training of marriage out of the public square. Based adoption agencies, charities are right at the center of the crosshairs on this. Accredited. If you rely on donation status to provide any charitable service for that matter, if you desire to partner with the government to provide another realm, you're because of this bill. One example of this from past is Bob. Is it Bob Jones? Autumn, correct me if I'm wrong. That a university,
I think that's right, Eric,
that lost its tax because of a non-discrimination federal government, and they deemed that the government's non-discrimination, and as a result, Bob Jones was forbidden from student loan programs, and so on.
That's right. And I think you're exactly right, Eric. And I'll summarize for folks who weren't able to quite catch all of it. Eric was saying that this targets entities of faith, and that the whole point of the bill, because it doesn't change any status, benefit, anything like that for same-sex couples right now because of the Obergefell ruling, the point of bringing something like this forward. Well, it is to put a target on the back of people of faith. And we're very concerned about that. Eric and I were talking about faith-based adoption and foster care entities. Any faith-based entity that Eric said wants to do business with the government, to interact with the government in any way, have contracts with the government, even tax-exempt status is of particular concern here for those faith-based charities that you support who want to adhere to their beliefs from the Bible. Marriage is the lifelong conjugal union between one man and one woman. And I think that's millions of Americans. Even in the Obergefell ruling itself, the justices, at the same time when they brought forward this new definition of marriage, they also said that millions and millions of Americans of goodwill can disagree on this issue, can have different beliefs about marriage, and that should be respected. But what this bill does is say that Americans who do hold that belief that marriage is between one man and one woman, they need to have a target on their back and be punished, and that their beliefs about marriage are at the same level as racist beliefs. So anybody who has racist views, we know that that's not tolerated in our society, rightly so. But this puts Americans' beliefs about marriage on that same par. And so we stand to be punished for those beliefs. That's what the authors of this bill are intending to do. It's very concerning. And so I think that's right. And so I'll just take a moment here to encourage you all who are watching and listening, wondering what this vote means. Please take action. The fight is not over. Eric said that at the very beginning. The vote today was a procedural vote, a motion to proceed with considering the bill. But rumor on Capitol Hill is that this bill will come back to the Senate for more consideration tomorrow, perhaps even an amendment or multiple amendments, and then a vote perhaps on final passage. And so please, if you are watching, please reach out to your senators. We've got an action alert that will get up in the screen so you can click on that, take action, contact your senators and urge them to vote no. Tell them about your concerns. And I think there were some senators, 3 of them, Senator Baldwin from Wisconsin, Senator Tillis from North Carolina, I think Senator Portman from Ohio, I believe, were considering an amendment that they claim would address all of our many religious freedom concerns. Rick, do you want to talk about that one a little bit? That one's fun.
Yeah, unfortunately, again, they want to give people cover to support as far as they need to go. Religious freedom is defined in the First Amendment of the U.S. Constitution to be relegated to a second-class status, and people have to settle for whatever to allow them to have. We have robust religious freedom in this country. It's a values founded, and we shouldn't settle for anything less.
That's exactly right. We have the Constitution. The right to religious freedom is in the First Amendment, so it's our first right in America. We know we were a country founded upon religious freedom, so we do have robust protections, and that this bill is intending to take those away. That's exactly right. And anything that this amendment that we have seen language for, it just basically puts a very small fig leaf on addressing those religious freedom concerns, and so it's nowhere near good enough to address the many concerns in this bill. So we do still need everyone to reach out to their senators and urge them to vote no on final passage in whatever form this bill ends up taking as it moves in the Senate. I think we just need to talk about, because of course, we mentioned earlier in the show, Eric, that there are 12 Republicans who joined the Democrats in voting for this bill. Very, very concerning. I think we were going to try to get their names up on the screen, but while we're waiting for that, or if we can't get them up, I'm happy to read them off. If I miss anyone, Eric, please tell me at the end. But please comment if you are from one of these states. Please comment, because you need to especially be reaching out to your senator. If your senator is one of them who is a Republican who joined the Democrats in voting for this bill, they need to hear from you immediately that you want them to vote no on final passage. They may have voted yes to advance the bill for consideration on the procedural vote today, but they need to hear from you that a vote on final passage is simply unacceptable. So those 12 Republicans are from their states: Senator Blunt from Missouri, Senator Burr from North Carolina, Senator Capito from West Virginia, Senator Collins from Maine, Senator Lummis from Wyoming, Senator Murkowski from Alaska, Senator Portman from Ohio, Senator Romney from Utah, Senator Sullivan from Alaska, Senator Tillis, also from North Carolina, Senator Ernst from Iowa, and Senator Young from Indiana. So those states especially, please be reaching out to your senators. Eric, what's your message to those Republicans who decided to join Chuck Schumer in the woke agenda today?
I don't understand, and there's a huge downside. And also, I hope your phone lines are open, constituents.
That's exactly right. Eric's encouraging you all to call those senators, especially. All of your senators need to hear from you, because this is a matter of significant importance. Because if this goes into law, it would be very, very hard to dial back, and the target on the backs of it would be very big. So please call them, please email them. We've got an action alert up there in the chat for you. But I do want to just briefly, before we close, talk about those Republicans. I think it's pretty funny on the wave of this election, where Republicans are sort of wondering what happened, why they didn't get the big red wave that they thought they were going to get, when there were significant big wins for conservatives. I think Governor Ron DeSantis in Florida is the biggest example of that. And he's somebody who is a bold leader. He leads on family issues. He stands strong for values. He stands strong on life. And he won in a big way, double digits. And yet the Republicans are going, why did this happen? Why did we not get our big red wave? And it makes me wonder, did they stop and consider, maybe it's because American families are looking for bold leaders and people who will stand up for family values. What do you think about that, Eric?
Couldn't be better said. Ron DeSantis, by the way, who signed a really profound, very recently in Florida, Governor Kemp in Georgia, who signed a heartbeat, the Governor of Texas, Governor Abbott, also signed and soared to re-election. And all three issues are not losing issues; they're winning issues. They appeal new demographics, and more than that, what really suppresses voters, what really anything, is the feeling of being let down, of a feeling like your representatives. And we're not asking for a lot. We're not champions. We're just asking for people who want. And that shouldn't be this hard.
That's exactly right, Eric. That's exactly right. It should not be this hard to vote no on a bill that, as you said earlier in the show, just simply doesn't need to go forward right now. And so I think that's right. We're looking for bold leadership, not wimpy leadership. And so if those senators are watching, I would encourage you to take back your yes vote. Vote no on this bill. There's no need for it to go forward. We are looking for strong leadership who will stand strong for families, who will prioritize the things that families care about, and stop advancing a woke agenda at Washington, D.C. So I hope that's the message they received today from all of you, and from all the many groups who are working on this, like Family Policy Alliance, like the Hair Foundation, so many others who have joined together to try to stop this bill. So please partner with us by contacting your senators. I see a comment in the chat from Matt, who's asking who those 12 senators were. I think we've got a running bar on the bottom of your screens that says who those are. So we'll leave that up for a little bit so you can check out those names. We've got those listed on, I think, on our website as well, so we can make sure that you have access to those. But any senator needs to hear from you, not just the 12 Republicans, because there will be more consideration on this bill probably tomorrow. So with that, I will just simply say, Eric, thank you so much for joining us tonight to talk about this bill, to talk about what the vote means. I really appreciate that. You've got some great insight. And thank you so much for the work from Heritage Foundation to try to stop the bill, to explain what this means. I would encourage everyone to support you all. You have some wonderful, wonderful resources on the Heritage Foundation website about this bill. I read them myself personally just today. Is there anything you'd like to say to the viewers tonight, Eric, just in parting comments before we go?
Well, thank you, Autumn. I apologize for I'm sure it's my fault, and if I knew how to fix it, but thank you for being in the fight. The fight, don't give up hope ever, but especially keep those calls coming in. Hate to hear from you, and you will change their.
That's right. That's right. When they hear silence, the senators assume that they're good to go with passing the bill. So please don't be silent. Please take just a quick couple seconds, even through our Action Center, to reach your senators. We really appreciate it. Thank you again, Eric. Thank you to all who joined us to watch. We've got more information on our official public statement in response to vote today on our website as well. So check that out. We want to hear from you. If you have any questions about the bill, please feel free to reach out to us at Family Policy Alliance. Just visit our website. It's an easy email submit form, a few questions that we can help with. But the big takeaway is please contact your senators. Please check out the resources at the Heritage Foundation as well. Thank you all so much. Eric, thanks for joining from your home. I know it's a later night for you. We appreciate it. God bless everyone. Have a good night. Thank you.